You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
My Lanta, here we are. We're back for another fantastic episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And
Kate Cheatham.
Oh, that's right, guys, and it sounds a little tinny. Yes, it does. You know why? Well, because we're bringing in this big, beautiful beast right here. Who is that right there?
This is Jacob Burris, and I'm listening.
Oh, hold on. Right up on the mic. Right up on the mic.
This is Jacob
There
Burris,
he
and
is.
I'm listening.
Oh, that's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.
I want him to rub the mic with his beard. Just bless
Lord.
it.
Yeah,
with-
do
with
that.
Yes.
Oh, my
It's
God.
blessed now. It is blessed.
That was just beautiful.
Whoever uses that mic next is going to have a year of good luck.
Shit,
Jacob.
give it here. I'll trade.
Well, yeah. Sean, you need that beard?
I need that good luck.
A little salt and pepper in there, man.
Yeah.
That's what Jacob needs, right?
Can you turn
Just
can you flip your headphones so you have a little bit more cord?
Maybe
I don't know
that'll-
if it'll work that way, but they might
Hopefully,
give you
they're
a
the
little
cheapie.
bit,
I
a
told,
little bit of
Well,
extra
now-
cord
I
there.
sadly don't have it set up the best for the guests.
You know,
I
our
just
guests come
don't-
in and Brandon just gives them whatever.
I just
He's
throw down
like,
It's
trash.
like, let's get in the closet and see what we got at the bottom.
Let's just see what leftovers we got.
Well,
Sorry.
Well, now my left ear's on my right ear headphone.
Oh,
my
man.
left ear's
You're going to be hearing
Oh,
everything
no.
backwards.
I know.
I'm glad radio's mono. All right, guys, we are here with our special guest this week who's joining us to talk about our movie.
I feel,
Another
Our
grand
movie?
Best
I
Picture
feel
winner.
personally attacked that he's not wearing his moon shirt.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
okay.
Trying to get him to wear one.
Yeah, Jacob, it's okay. I know you have one.
I do.
It's in the wash, though, right?
He's worn it on the show before. That's
I
why.
have.
That's why I
Yeah,
feel
I have.
personally attacked.
I know.
It's okay.
I
It's
feel
all
like
right.
this notebook is intimidating me because I do feel like you're like taking notes on
Do you have notes?
on us.
On the movie, he does. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my
Yes.
gosh. Look at
Yeah.
that.
He came. He
He
does
is
his homework.
prepared.
He is always our
No
best
doubt.
guest because he always comes prepared.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
The
I
other
don't-
guests, they know who they are.
You
They
know,
need to learn from him.
It's
Yeah.
funny because I was putting the review up on the website, and it was underneath, obviously alphabetically, Mr. Holmes. And I always get it confused thinking that you reviewed Mr. Holmes, but you didn't. Neil did. And I don't know if you... I didn't click play. This is how much investigating I did. I can't remember if you read it, but every time I see it, I'm just like, that's such a Jacob movie. And every time Jacob comes on the show, I feel like
Is it-
you review...
Do you just assume it's a Jacob movie because
Yes.
it's about Sherlock Holmes?
Well,
Like, I
no,
don't-
it's just that, but it's
I-
Ian McKellen's in it.
Yeah.
And it's just a classic, I don't know, just an old English tale. It just fits Jacob personality.
He's an
I
old
don't know.
soul.
Yes.
So
He is,
I-
but I don't really equate Ian McKellen with Old Soul. I equate him with other things. So.
Like Gandalf.
Well, yeah, I do
And he's
equate him with that.
he's a
but-
fan of Fellowship.
but,
He's a
you know,
fan
I
of
mean,
Two Towers and Return
Well,
of the
everybody's
King.
a fan of Fellowship.
yes,
Not in this room.
brotherly
Because
fellowship.
that's COVID, okay? We don't touch others.
I mean, at this point,
He
we've
washed
been
his
stuck
hands?
in a room. Yeah,
we both
yeah.
just pooped and washed our hands.
Okay,
You hope I
alright,
did.
All right, that's
You
true.
don't know for sure.
I think
you
you
weren't
did.
in the bathroom.
You
when
work at restaurants. I
Keith,
think
now
you did.
you're like totally not making a good case at all.
I'm not trying to.
You're like, you don't know if
I'm not
washed
trying to
my
make a
hands.
good case for anything.
What about our movie this week? Are you going to make a good case for that?
It depends. I like to play devil's advocate, so
True.
No, I mean, I already gave it a score. I reviewed it, so if we take a listen, we can find out what I gave it.
So here is our review of Miss Miniver.
We are now halfway into the second decade of the Academy Awards, and with the 15th Oscar ceremony comes the first Best Picture win from one of Hollywood's most prolific directors, William Wyler. Having already directed multiple films with nominations in multiple categories, Wyler would receive his first of 3 Best Director wins for Mrs. Miniver, also marking the first time one of Wyler's films won Best Picture. While Wyler is best known for what many consider to be his magnum opus, Ben-Hur, which wouldn't release for another 17 years, he had already by this point in cinema history made a solid reputation for himself, with Mrs. Miniver being his 5th film to be nominated for Best Picture. Adapted from the novel of the same name, Mrs. Miniver focuses on the life of Mrs. Kay Miniver, portrayed by Greer Garson, and her family, middle-class citizens living in England during the Second World War, marking the first time a film with a plot centered on World War II won Best Picture. The movie, however, does not showcase the war and battles themselves as typical war films do. Instead, it focuses on how the war affects the lives of Mrs. Miniver, her family, and their community, allowing the war to become a backdrop to the plot, with its presence always looming and dictating the events in the main characters' lives. Brilliantly filmed and crafted, Mrs. Miniver is everything previous Best Picture winner Cavalcade wishes to be. An epic that dealt with how its casts are affected by major historical events. From the start of the war to the evacuation of Dunkirk, Mrs. Miniver must watch as those important to her take part in Britain's darkest days. Aided by a fairly steady pace, a captivating story, and relatable characters, Mrs. Miniver is one of the few films in the first 15 years of the Academy Awards to feel like the timeless, larger-than-life narrative you expect from a Best Picture winner. Considered one of the best directors for getting top performances out of his actors, Wyler had helped and would continue to help many of Hollywood's most notable stars go on to win Oscars for their acting. Mrs. Miniver saw 5 of its cast members nominated for acting awards, with Greer Garson and Teresa Wright winning Best Actress and Supporting Actors respectively. While not all performances in the film are exceptional, the majority of the main cast are solid, with Garson as Mrs. Miniver herself truly standing out. While Mrs. Miniver is an incredible work worthy of its win, not every aspect is perfect, and its age shows slightly in scenes such as Mrs. Miniver's run-in with a German soldier, whose authenticity as a German soldier is destroyed by having an English actor poorly speak in broken English with a terrible German accent. Though this was the common course for portraying characters of a foreign language during this period in Hollywood, it is one of the few scenes in the film that could have been entirely gotten rid of. Despite the scene of the German soldier feeling disjointed from the rest of the film's narrative and being executed poorly, the rest of Mrs. Miniver showcases a solid line in the narrative with a compelling story. The themes of war and banding together to fight the good fight are strong, and the movie shows why Wyler was so revered. It may not be his greatest work, but it proves that the man had talent even early on, and definitely deserves its spot amongst the elite. I give Mrs. Miniver 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Mrs. Miniver.
Miniver.
I said Miss Miniver. I keep having to recorrect myself because I don't know why. I just think she's single. But
She is married.
she's very much married.
Very much.
Both of them are.
Yes.
Yeah, both Mrs.
And
Minivers.
actually, okay,
Wow.
That got me.
I really liked that kind of handing of the torch, the passing of the torch.
Well, yeah.
I like that.
Until the end.
I kind of knew.
And I cried. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying I cried. Like, it
Oh,
got
wow.
me. It got me good.
It did.
I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't either.
It really caught me off
And
guard.
that
I
was
like,
actually one of the first times in the movie where I truly was like, okay, this is a good movie. Like, great movie. A great movie. Because it did. It caught me off
my
guard.
thing. I started the film, and I didn't have any expectations for this movie whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then I see, like, in the very opening credits when it pops up, directed by William Wyler, and I was like, no effing way. Like, because that's he's the man who made Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking,
Yeah.
like, Ben-Hur's great, and William Wyler is one of the most prolific directors of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm curious, like, how this is going to turn out. And it started out, and it was fine. I was like, I like this. I mean, it wasn't anything great, but I liked it. I liked the character development and the interactions between her and her husband. And as it went on, yeah, it just kept, like, I thought it just kept getting better. Like, I really liked how it did the things right that Cavalcade wanted to do. Like, you see, like, these historical events, like the air raids and them hiding in the cellar. And then you see, like, her husband going off to participate in the evacuation of Dunkirk. And all these things that are affecting their lives. And I was like, see, this makes sense, and it has a solid narrative, whereas Cavalcade was all over the place.
Yeah. Yes.
And you heard about them going off to war, but you never heard anything else after the fact. It was like, they went off to war. Oh, they died. That's the end of that. Let's move on to the next part of the story. And this was like you actually had repercussions to the things happening.
Well, and the one thing that I think I liked most about this film, especially since we've seen a lot up to this point about that cover the war, really the only other one that I could think of that does the topic justice that I appreciated, and it was in the thick of the war, was All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
Most of the other movies throughout this era that have been, really concentrated, or at least, hint at, the war's going on in the background, or it eventually comes into the forefront of the story.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I understand it's historical. I expect them to add it in there, but it's never been, and I think you said it best when you came over to record the review, and you were telling me, you were like, well, this was the first, they consider this the first best picture of a war film.
World War II.
Of a World War II film.
Yes.
And yeah, because obviously All Quiet's World War One. But I not only would I agree with that sentiment, but I love the fact that in this movie, you see their perspective from the people who are, being attacked, but also, they're just common day, everyday people in the midst of this chaos that is brought upon them.
That's what I like.
And it's a slow build up for, I think I think it's how war approaches everybody.
Yeah.
In that it doesn't really fully hit home until it does impact you
Well, that's
directly.
what I said in my review. Is I like that it was always this looming thing that affected everything. Like, you didn't see the front lines, but the war was very much a significant part of the story. Like, you couldn't have had the story without the World War II. And I really liked that you always felt the presence of the battle lines, even though you didn't see them.
Yeah.
And I liked that part. The only thing about the movie I hated, I couldn't stand the scene where she found the German soldier. I thought it was an unnecessary scene. I thought it could have been cut entirely from the film.
That was the scene that I liked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I couldn't get past his terrible acting. He was like, he goes,
I can agree with that.
and that's partially part of that era of Hollywood, is they always just hired like this plain white guy to play these like foreigners with like, so they give him this terrible broken English accent, and you can tell he's not really German, and he's like, milk.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like,
I agree.
Like, I think I would have liked the scene more. Yeah, I would have liked the scene more if I didn't have to listen to him
But
going.
he speaks better English later, though.
He does.
Like, he has trouble getting those English words
Yes.
out, but then when he tells her 30,000
Yes.
dead or whatever, and it's just like, oh, now he speaks English.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
And it's all, I was gonna say, not only does he string them together, but it's like every other word has an accent.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, and I will agree with that. But Sean, you talk about that was one of your favorite parts, because I agree. It was one of my favorite parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
After reading a little bit more about the film after I watched it, I was reading that with that exact scene, that a lot of the executives and stuff in Hollywood were kind of pissed that he made the German soldier so kind of mean and scary.
Oh, really?
And because at that time, again, like
Which is
we
crazy,
talked
because I
before,
thought they kind of did.
You don't want to offend
Hollywood
Hitler.
didn't want to
Yeah.
offend Hitler,
Yeah.
and he said, well, had I had more Nazis in my film, like, I may have diversified and made a couple of them a little bit nice.
Yeah.
But when I'm only going to have one Nazi written into my film, I'm going to show them the way that they should be shown.
And I thought, honestly,
And
it's
so he
pretty
kinda
tame
stood up for it.
considering,
Yeah.
what happens.
But
with them.
that was also one of the other things that kind of just historically, this film actually did influence America's entrance into the war, because this was before America, joined in the fight, and we didn't really have a clear understanding of how the war was affecting the British and what was going on the other side of the pond. And to see how the war was affecting these British families and the turmoil that it was causing from the air raids and them having to hide in the Blitz bunkers and all that kind of stuff, it raised a little bit more sympathy from America towards the British.
Yeah.
And they say in reading about the film, historically, it actually did help push America into an
that's really
understanding.
cool. Yeah.
And that made us more willing to
That
to
actually
join the
does
fight.
remind me of one scene I really liked, was when, like, I forget the old rich lady's name, but when he's trying to get her to hide in the bunker, and he's like, the British could be bombing us any moment, and she's like, or not the British, the Germans, and she's like, the Germans wouldn't dare. And she's like so pompous.
So
and
pompous,
like,
yeah.
Won't come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jacob, let's turn to you and get your thoughts on the film.
I'm like Keith. I gave it probably. I was drawn between 3 and 3.5.
Yes.
I like Keith's point of the German scene. I didn't really like it as much. A little unbelievable. They made mention that the plane was shot down.
Yeah, they mentioned that he was
earlier,
out around
and
somewhere.
So I'm
but
like, okay, it was just some sort of
it did feel
neighborhood
contrived
watch or
that she
something
happened
like.
to,
Yeah, and he's sitting there for 3 days in her bush or something. I feel like somebody would have noticed.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It happens. She wasn't hurt. So
At least she goes for the gun.
Yeah.
The first response is like,
Thank
I'm
you,
going to take
Jacob.
care of him.
She was okay. So I like how Sean said, it was the idea of brought America into the war without saying anything bad per se about Germany. And Sean mentioned don't want to offend Hitler, but Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi
Yes.
Goebbels. I think that's how they pronounced his name.
Goebbels, yeah.
Okay.
I only know that from Inglourious Bastards.
The Nazi war minister said even though no technical bad word was said about Germany, it made everybody hate Germany.
Good.
I mean, to paraphrase the man.
Yeah.
So he said, it was a perfect anti-German film.
Yeah.
In that respect. So it was like this subtle jab of
Yeah.
we're coming for you because what you're doing.
Yes.
But, I can respect that. But I watched it Sunday and then rewatched it today during work.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
He watched it twice. He did his homework.
So, because I just had some questions, but partly on the acting and then just to get the pace. I always like pace. And, it was a slow build.
Yeah.
But not too slow. But, it was a steady build,
I felt the
little
same.
piece, little piece, little piece. So it got there for me. And then initially I didn't like Walter Pidgeon's acting, the dad.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it a little plastic, kind of just 1940s dad.
Yeah.
Oh, son with the pipe.
See, and it was weird because I actually liked
No
him.
smoke coming out of the pipe.
Yeah, I kind of liked him better in this than in the previous film, which he was in 2 back-to-back Best Picture winners because he was in How Green Was My Valley as the preacher. But I thought his role in this, I kind of appreciated it because it seemed just, I don't know, I enjoyed the relationship between him and Mrs. Miniver. And I thought it was like a real-life couple. Like that, to me, it just
I did
felt,
like their interactions. I agree
it
with
felt
that.
very natural and it felt very organic and not forced, like I would expect to see and had seen.
I will say in the second viewing, I have to agree with that better. I don't know if it was just the first go through, you're trying to
follow along.
get all these pieces,
yeah.
subtle nuance, all these things.
Right.
So I agree with the interactions and husband-wife relationship they had. And I probably will give that extra half star now just because.
Wait. Did you tell us what your actual your complete
I was
star
on the
rating
border
was?
between 3 and 3.5.
Oh,
but after the
okay.
second viewing, probably a 3.5.
Yeah, I gave it 3.5, Brandon.
So.
I'm actually don't be
You just go ahead.
I'm giving it 4.
Okay.
Oh,
really?
4 stars.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum.
And I'll explain a little bit
Yeah, go
further,
ahead.
but go ahead, Jacob. Sorry.
No, that's what I liked. I thought, the I like how it was different. You think of war movies, guns blaring,
Yeah.
Bombs, whatever, bloodshed. But I liked the home front idea. It was different both for a war movie and for the time, I thought, which was mentioned. And I thought there were several scenes that stood out. I love the idea of trying to find civility and normalcy in a wartime effort. They come out of the bunker and they're like, oh, they're bombing London in the background, and he's smoking his pipe upside down. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, and there was even one scene where he I think he even says, and it's sarcastic the way he says it, but he's just like, very lovely evening for a bombing, or I don't know the way I forget the exact line, but
it's your average Tuesday night in London. No big deal. So just these, trying to find, normalcy, understanding, I guess.
Some humor in the chaos.
You're like
to be lighthearted and try to make it not seem like it's so doom and gloom.
Yeah,
there was enough of that.
And then of course the ending monologue by the vicar in the church.
Yes.
Getting bombed. In doing some notes and reading, it was originally written before Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
and then William Wilder and I forget his name. The actor that played the vicar actually rewrote that scene.
Oh,
really?
To kind of
include.
Yeah,
I liked that scene. I liked the end.
I thought so too.
That's
I thought it
the
was
song
fantastic.
"Onward Christian Soldiers" always gets me anyway. So that could have attributed to me crying because every time I hear that song, it gets me. And then everything that happened in his speech and all that, and I'm just like, yeah, you fight that fight.
My favorite part, minor spoiler, is him leaving the pew with his parents and going over and
Yes, I really like that.
and just sitting with the mother, and I thought that was brilliant and just beautiful.
So we all gave our star rating. What did you
Sean,
give it,
what about
Sean?
you?
I gave it 3.
Okay.
Okay.
And it was hard for me to give it 3.
Okay. So no. So you were settling before you gave it 3. What were you settling on?
I was between 2.5 and 3.
Okay.
I was telling Keith earlier, this was a film that I felt flip-flopped some of the similarities in the other films that we reviewed, where the first half has been really good and then the second half has been, not so good.
Yeah.
This movie, for me, flipped it, where the first half just did not really pique my interest. It was a good setup for the characters, but I would disagree and say that it was too slow for me. The second half of the film, though, is when it really livened up and became something that interested me.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's just the war action aspect of it or whatever. I've really felt like now we finally have this posh family like actually getting into the action here, instead of just showcasing their extravagant lifestyle and their servants, and I hated
But
their
they were
son.
actually some of
I
the poor.
hated
They
their
were
son.
actually some of the poorer people. In
And
that
I
community.
know, but it was just like, I think I'll
But
take it. I think I'll take the car.
You said you
And I-
hated.
I hated Vin or whatever. his name
Really?
was. I
Actually,
hated him.
really
I liked
liked
it because
him,
I thought his story arc of him kind of coming down to earth, and what better way than to show him as a pompous
Yeah.
asshole.
Oh, I know. It's
like,
You know,
I came
you know,
from
Oxford,
very-
and and then
it's
he-
very good acting,
Yeah.
and the turnaround is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
time when it introduced the character, I was just like, this is the guy in the movie I'm not going to be able to stand.
I think one thing that just stood out in general for me with this film, and knowing who William Wyler is I noticed that, because while I didn't have a problem with the pacing, I do think, like, you look at this, which was like 2 hours 20 minutes, and you look at Ben-Hur, that was like 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours.
I think, yeah.
And it's one of those things where I think he kind of learned a bit in pacing too, because I could tell in this movie there were scenes where it's like the dialogue and the character development is supposed to like keep you intrigued and drive the narrative until you get the action, and it wasn't always perfect with that. But then when you get to 17 years later, when he makes Ben-Hur, I feel like he finally nails that. Even in like the slower build, like you're always like connected. Like he knows how to pull you in and keep your attention during the slow and fast moments.
And honestly, I have to say the reason why I edged out and gave it 4 was because I felt like, and maybe, he does a better job of that in his films as he grows as a director. I mean, the fact that he's the only director to win 3 best director Academy Awards. But the fact is I thought in the early days of the films
out
that
of
we've
12
seen,
nominations, I must say,
which is
that's
insane.
Yes,
and now for Hitchcock never won once. I'm just
I know.
saying. It's a crime.
It's a slap in the face.
It's a crime. But the fact is I thought out of all the films that we've seen in the last decade and a half in the early years of Hollywood, I felt like this was the first time I actually not only connected with the characters on screen, but I actually felt like the pacing and the build up and the moments that allowed them. I mean, the whole reason you sit down and watch a film a lot of the times is at some point if you ask yourself, why the hell do I care about following these people?
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, and that's the thing is throughout this whole
That's
film.
how I felt during Cimarron.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And at least during this whole film, I kept having that reason.
Yeah.
It kept getting answered, and it was like that was the reason why I liked the scene with the German. He was absolutely god awful. They should trust me. If they remade this film, it would be. He
would actually speak German.
Well, it would be cancel culture. I was going to say they would have to get a German to play the German.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that the reason why I liked something like that was it did show you, Mrs. Miniver, her character development and how it drove her even fighting. The father having the purpose for going to Dunkirk, and it's showing you the older generation having something to bring to the table with the young generation. The younger generation, like she has that whole talk with. Who soon becomes the new Mrs. Miniver, the mom and Mrs. Miniver talking back and forth, and she's like, they're young, and times for war call for different measures, and how much longer are they going to be? And I genuinely did not see it coming. Again, no spoilers, but it surprised me that I was like, it made me feel even more connected to the experiences of these characters, and I just by the end of the film, I kept thinking like I was astounded because it's the first film that I have seen from this classic era where I could, you spruce up the visuals, you spruce up the cinema. I mean, the cinematography was still
it was
fantastic.
great. Yeah,
but you spruce it up and bring it into a modern age. That film, I feel like maybe minor dialogue changes because just updating it. That film could be told the exact same way, beat for beat, and it would be fantastic even today.
Yeah,
and that to me is the epitome of a timeless classic.
The bravery and the resolve of this family, like in these trying times, was what I took away from the film.
Yeah.
More than anything, was just how does someone
Continue.
deal with all of that and continue to move forward and progress in such a way when everything else is falling apart around you,
Yeah.
and still be a family at the end.
Yeah.
And it's just that's what pushed me to give it 3 even after the slow and kind of uninteresting beginning for me. So
and I'll be honest with you, I think the only reason I was able to forgive some of that in the beginning was because of how it ended from the middle and the end, but ultimately because it allowed me to realize so many of the other movies we had seen before, there was a good half-hour chunk at the beginning of the film that was completely... I understood they were setting up the characters. It was a lot of exposition, but it was never interesting. And it was a lot of fat that could be trimmed.
Well, the first hour and a half of the Great Zeig film was that.
Exactly. And so when I saw this film and it got to the end, I realized, okay, there really was only about 20 minutes of the original, or of the beginning of this film that was kind of character development and setting up the world they lived in.
The war breaks out about a half hour in.
Yeah. And so I just felt like, okay, each part, by the end of the film, I felt like every part of this film was necessary. And that definitely just made it worthwhile for me.
this is the highest star rating I've given any of the movies
Wow.
that we've reviewed so far.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So it really resonated with all of us.
Yeah.
This is the first Best Picture.
Interesting. No, I liked it. And I'm eager to see, because I know in 4 movies from now, William Wyler will be back with The Best Years of Our Lives. And then, of course, he won't come back for another Best Picture and Best Director win until Ben-Hur. But still, it is interesting to know that, in 4 more movies, we'll be seeing him again.
Yeah.
And then Ben-Hur's got a little ways to go because it's 1959.
They're full on color then.
Are you going to use Keith's review or are you going to use my review?
Oh, no. Actually, we don't have to re-review Ben-Hur. That was one of Sean's first.
That's true. He did.
Keith's like, I want to be the official.
No, I'm not trying to take that away from
You're
Sean.
going to disagree
at all.
with my 4 out of 4?
No, it would be 4 stars either way. I'm not saying that I need to re-review it, but I do kind of want to talk about it a little
Well,
bit.
let's do
we
it.
will.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
In fact,
I'm
I think
just
we should
joking,
just,
by the way.
we should just re-air the review.
We could,
and say, hey, we've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we
yeah.
actually captured this.
I mean, I think everybody at this point already knows our feelings on Ben-Hur.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as far as star rating goes. So
well, and Jacob, do you have anything else more to say about Mrs. Miniver?
No, I was just looking at the films it was up against in 42.
Yeah.
It was up against The Magnificent Ambersons by Orson Welles. It kind of has just because it's Welles.
it's,
a cult
Orson
following.
Welles, yeah.
And then Pride of the Yankees and
I've heard that
Yankee
one.
Doodle Dandy with James Cagney.
Wow.
So I mean, it had
Proud of the
you know,
Yankees.
James Cagney, I think, won Best Actor for that one.
I believe
think.
so.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it was some sort of, but not that. Usually, most films generally have a fairly
Competition,
competitive
yeah.
class.
Well,
but
I mean, that
Well,
was
here's the
was
thing,
last
Jacob,
week's.
is a lot
Yeah.
of movies we reviewed, like we felt like their competition deserved to win more than they did. So it's been interesting looking at some of these older Oscar years and seeing how they had great movies, but the great movies weren't always the ones that won. So,
And I mean, and this one had, I think, 7 nominations. It said, and won 4 or 5.
It had-
and
Yeah.
in a pretty good
Wow.
chunk of the acting categories. Too, so.
It had 5 acting nominations,
And it won 2, right?
And it won 2.
Yeah.
Greer
Supporting
Garson,
and-
who
Greer
played Mrs. Miniver, won, and then the
Teresa.
second Mrs. Miniver won.
Teresa.
I
Best
don't know
Supporting
why, but
Actress.
I'm starting to get the hots for some of these older women. I'm just saying,
Greer Garson was good.
Back
Mrs.
then.
Greer Garson and
Mrs. Miniver, when she comes out
She-
with that nightgown and just the hat on, I was
Yeah.
like, you know
Well,
what?
this started.
That's a real woman.
For Garson. This started a 5-year streak of winning.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
she was in 5 back-to-back Oscar-winning movies.
Nice.
Holy crap!
And I think what's the guy that plays the father?
Walter Pigeon.
Yes,
Walter
Walter
I
Pigeon.
think they were both in Oscar-winning films 5 years in a row.
That would not
her
surprise me.
and someone. We'll have to look it up maybe for a side note. But
For some
she
Tinseltown
was
trivia.
Yeah, for Tinseltown trivia. But yeah, she was in like a 5-winning streak there.
Well, here's a bit of Tinseltown trivia. There is a real Mrs. Miniver Rose. I forget the name of the cultivist. Like 2 years after this movie came out, I forget the name of the company, but they specifically all they do is breed roses. They crossbred and created specifically a rose to name Mrs. Miniver. And
That's
about
cool.
that?
There is
You know,
you
one
can buy
thing
Mrs. Miniver roses.
I
now.
would have loved to have seen just how red
That rose
the
was.
rose
You
was.
can Google it and you can see now because it's
I
a
know.
real rose now.
It's like
I
when
just-
she
I
says
just-
I've never seen a red like
yeah.
that. I'm just like, it'd be nice if it was in color.
It would have been nice. They didn't, even if they could have done the Schindler's List trick.
Yes.
It's like,
would've
let's
been
just do
cool.
the red rose is the only thing we're gonna color.
That would have bumped it up to a 4-star rating for me.
I'm
If
just
they had
saying.
been that innovative, I would have been like, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
The one
Way ahead
final
of its
thing I
time.
have to say, and this is nothing really to do with like it has something to do with the movie, but not like plot or sequence or anything. But Henry Travers, who plays the one who cultivates the
Oh
Miniver
yeah, he
Rose,
plays Clarence in It's a
Clarence
Wonderful Life.
Oddbody in
Yes,
It's a Wonderful
Yeah.
Life.
I love him.
That's
Anything he's
right.
in, it's just wonderful. He
Yeah.
plays
I
that
thought I
wonderful person.
recognized him.
Yeah, I love him.
This was a
I-
couple years before that.
Yeah, thank
so.
you. I actually was going to mention it if someone else hadn't, because I do love him, and he's like that's my favorite role of his is from It's a Wonderful
Yeah.
Life, which I think most people probably would say that, but yeah, he's a good character.
Good
actor.
character. All right,
Yeah.
guys. I think we got some breaking news. I need some.
We need that like a lead in. Yeah. There we go.
That's the best I can do.
Actually, I don't know what on the soundboard would match breaking news the most.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That would be good. I like that one.
Yeah.
That
I
one's
mean,
sitting
it's
good.
breaking news. I don't know.
Hold on. Let's try it again. We've got some breaking news.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's perfect. All right, so you all found the article. I was at work, so I didn't have enough time to.
Keith found the article.
Oh, Keith,
This
thank
week.
you.
I
I did not
was-
have enough time to
I was
actually.
scrolling while driving, which you should never do.
No, but that's how you find breaking news.
That is how you find
That's what
breaking news.
we're dedicated here on the Red Moon Podcast.
I pulled into your
Risk our
yard.
lives.
I pulled into your yard and saw that article and was like, "Oh crap,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
pretty major."
So
So,
I,
yeah.
there's no lower because I didn't have enough
That's
time.
okay.
that's 2 weeks in a row, but
That-
it's
I
2
mean,
weeks in a
that's-
row we've
that's
had
what
news
happens.
right before the show. Yeah.
I'd rather it be during or before the show than after.
Now we
and-
spent a good 5 minutes talking about how breaking this news is. Maybe we should,
We should
announce
talk
what
about
the
it.
news is.
We're building it up, and it's really
Well, wait,
not
hold
that
on.
big.
We've got some breaking news.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Okay. Anyway, Mulan, who Disney has tried its best to only go the theatrical route, is now going to release in September in theaters and on Disney Plus. But there's a catch. It's not just coming to Disney Plus for you to watch for free, as you would assume, because
Of
you're paying your
course
subscription.
not.
You have to pay for it, but not just that typical $20 VOD charge. It's a $30 charge to watch Mulan.
$30.
And here's my thing. I realize they're releasing it in theaters and Disney Plus. They still want that kind of theatrical pull and window. So I guess they're thinking, well, if you take 3 people to the movie theaters, you're going to spend $30 anyway. So 3 people in your living room. But my thing is, that's not even competing with other
It's
VOD
not-
services.
It's
like,
not really $30. It's $45 because you're already paying
Paying the
15
subscription,
for
yeah.
subscription.
Well,
Yeah.
Disney Plus is only about $5 a month. So
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
I'm
unless
paying
you have
I'm
Hulu.
paying $12.99.
I was
Or
saying
you get the
depends
ESPN
on what
and Hulu.
services
Yeah.
you get.
If
Yeah.
you're doing Disney, Hulu, and ESPN, but that other money's going to Hulu and ESPN. It's
Bleh.
not for Disney.
But I don't
okay?
care.
But still, yeah, I think $30 is a bit excessive.
I want to know what ESPN wants with that Mulan money. Okay, I'm
Here's my
just
thing,
saying.
and I also question how long do you get to watch it on Disney Plus for $30? Because the $20 fee on most services, you get to rent the movie for 48 hours. I'm like, if they tell me I get to keep it for a week, maybe I
I
can
don't
see
care
the $30
what
price
movie it
tag.
is you're renting. Any movie for $30,
You better
price
own it.
Is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, I feel that about the $20 price tag, but people are still
Right.
paying that to rent for 48
Well,
hours.
I want to know where's the PC culture at. Like where are the people banging down the door saying?
Well, they
like,
might be.
if
We
you
haven't
wanna
gotten that
see
far
how
into the day
fast
yet. Nobody
an
knows this
Asian-
news.
If you want to see how fast an Asian-dominated movie can tank, you charge $30 for in-home rental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
People will pay
Nobody's going to watch
They're
that.
gonna no.
No, they're not.
Look at yes, they are.
Not,
Look at
this is not a cartoon. They're not going to pay it. I don't think they're going to pay it.
people. I've seen so many people love Mulan, which
so
I mean,
what?
they're gonna pay it. It's
I don't know.
Disney.
I'm just like, what
Okay,
average
Aladdin
Joe
was
can
a
afford
success.
it?
Aladdin was a success.
It was $18 $30 in a theater of IMAX. Like,
People are
play
gonna-
at IMAX.
People, when it comes to Disney, people pay it. It's ridiculous. I think it's
Sadly,
dumb
yes.
too, but they do. They pay it because it's Disney.
I just don't. I
don't know.
You agree, Jacob?
I kind of agree with Brandon. I think someone will pay it, but not the masses.
Well, I don't think it's going to be huge.
That's
but
that's the reason why I think they have it at $30 anyway. I think somehow. I mean, look, if there's things that Disney's genius at, just like Apple, they're marketing geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
They know who's going to pay for what. So I do think that they've done some kind of, I don't know, research group, and they've tapped into the market somehow to figure out how they can gauge what price to charge this at, so that enough people will pay for it, so they can make up a loss.
I mean-
but I'm sorry, I just don't see many people jumping on the bandwagon for $30.
oh no, there's going to be a lot of people who won't. But I'm just saying that there's going to be people who will. I'm not saying it's going to be the majority, but I guarantee you there's people that are gonna pay.
Right. Okay, Jacob.
Yeah.
What about
I was
you?
gonna say, I mean, as Keith said, it's Disney. Somebody's gonna pay it somewhere somehow for whatever reason.
True. Are you going to pay for it?
No.
No, no
see, a
one. I don't
concern
think
that I
anyone in
have
this
is
room is going to pay for it.
I've got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I honestly, just based on the trailers of the film, it doesn't come off as a young
not a-
kids
yes,
movie.
yeah. Right.
So it's not one that I'm gonna be stuck at home with my kids, and I'm like,
Right.
I'm gonna pay $30 so that they'll sit on the couch
It's
and
not
watch
Trolls
this.
2 or
they're not.
Scoob.
They're
Yeah.
not going
Yeah.
to.
It's like
So-
a tween. It's a tween movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even then, it's like that's a large amount of money
Here's
to
my
gamble
thing.
with.
Yep.
As soon as it hits streaming, and as soon as it hits Disney Plus, I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to pay $30 for it.
Right.
Because as soon as it's
Well,
available digitally,
yeah.
We'll
I mean,
receive our screener in the mail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Disney just happens to
everybody's
send us screeners.
everybody's going to get their screeners, and then that'll be the end of that.
Sean can watch and sing "Be a Man" on the couch by himself without
The
having
songs-
to pay $30.
Right.
The
Yeah,
songs
right.
aren't going to be in it though.
Yeah, there's no.
That's what
It's
they
just
said.
all live
Yeah.
action.
So
no-
that's
no
the other
music.
thing. It's not. I mean, I was excited for Mulan. I
I'm
was
still
gonna go and
excited
pay
for it.
Yeah.
and I know that's what they're going to justify. They're
I'll
going to say,
pay
well,
$30 to go see
$30.
it at the theater with my family if they all want to go,
Well,
but not to
and-
sit at home
And that's what I was
and
going to
not
say.
have them pay
That's
attention.
the only reason I
Yeah.
can say they're going to justify the cost. Is,
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you took your whole family to the theater to see it, it's like, but I'm not seeing it in the theater experience. No
Yeah.
matter how good my home theater system is, and I've got a good one.
The other thing is
I'm not
Disney
paying
is
$30 for
Disney is saying that this is not going to be like a new trend, but they are testing. They use
They
that
said
word.
it's a one-off.
Yeah, they're testing it with audiences though to see how it does, and I'm saying if it does well, they will do this
And
again.
that is where I kind of have to ask the question, because we talked about this, and maybe I was the only one who kind of inferred it way back when. But with Mulan being a Asian specific, minority film, it's like, why are they choosing this film to test that with? Because if it
Well,
does
they're double
fail,
dipping. It's still going to theaters. It's just a
Right.
way for them to
They
make
just
twice
know
the
that
amount of
by
money.
but
September
I'm just
theaters
saying,
still
like,
aren't
where
gonna
are
be
the
open.
where are the PC warriors claiming or
'Cause no one
claiming
cares
and
about the
decrying?
Asian. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude.
Oh,
but,
dang.
Oh my
but
God!
no, that's. I'm saying that
He
like
just said it.
legitimately as like it's not that I don't care about Asians, but nobody ever fights for the Asian minorities. Like when do you ever see like any outcry as far as
I thought that was
Asian
part of
specific?
the whole essence behind this remake was
Yeah.
to add more of the Asian culture in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
a
thought
bit,
that was,
but
it was
I mean,
supposed to be the whole point of
Mulan's always been one of like their least successful of the '90s Renaissance films. So I think Disney is
okay, but now you're proving the point even further. If it's less successful, than
that's
then
my
why
point.
even
Yeah.
charge $30 for an intellectual property that's not going to make nearly that much money because people didn't follow it before?
That I mean, I don't know, but that's my point. Is that I don't know why. Like, I think this is why they're choosing that one to go to streaming. They don't want to choose obviously Black Widow because they know that's a massive hit that they don't want to risk
But that's
losing money
one
on.
that I could see charging $30 for, and people would pay it.
You're using
See?
logic,
Exactly.
Listen, but
Like
you're
right
using
there.
logic.
Yeah.
Disney's thinking we could charge $30 for Black Widow, but we know we'd make more if we can hold out until theaters reopen. Mulan, I think with Mulan, they're like it's a toss up.
So okay, so let me ask you that: do you think it's an issue of they're going to try to they're charging this price, this premium price for in home, hoping that they're just really kind of cutting a balance between those who will go and see it in theaters?
I think so, yeah.
And those who are just going to
And
rent
then
it at
if
home.
nobody does see it, they'll blame racism.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see an all Asian movie.
That could
That's
be
exactly what they'll do.
I was going to say, like Keith said, I know Mulan as a Disney Renaissance movie is not, a Lion King of, or,
Yeah.
Little
Right,
Mermaid
yeah.
or something up there. But I know several people who are diehard Mulan fans.
Oh yeah,
my wife
I do
loves
too.
Mulan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like maybe part test market in the sense that, yeah, I think generally it's, well received.
I think it's a
but-
niche thing where they know that the
Yeah.
fans of Mulan are diehard fans of Mulan.
Yeah.
It's not as popular as Little Mermaid or Aladdin, but they know those who do love Mulan really love Mulan.
Yeah.
I
So-
just
so I think
don't
that-
know how many of those are going to be at home.
Is it going to be enough for a $30 ticket? Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
Well,
Yep.
in the Red Moon vein of thought, I mean, there are 2.5 billion Asians, so
Yeah.
Well,
$30,
and here's the thing.
that's a good
I was
cash
excited
cow.
for. See, I really
True,
loved the
true.
movie Crazy
No,
Rich.
very true.
JK,
Crazy Rich Asians. I said.
Aliens.
Aliens. Yeah.
Oh my
Getting
god!
really bad over here.
Crazy
But I
Rich
really
Illegal
loved-
Aliens.
Crazy Rich Asians was an amazing film.
I'm telling you, we're going to get slammed.
Yeah.
No, because see, again, PC culture never
It's a good
fights
thing
for the
we're not doing
Asians.
Great Day
And that was
anymore.
one of the things when Crazy Rich Asians came out. Like they was a huge uproar because it was the first time you did have a
Yeah.
Asian specific film like that. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think Disney came along with Mulan saying we can make a movie to this crowd and do it and make it authentic, not the half authentic, quasi authentic cartoon.
Yeah.
And I was excited for that because
I was
I
too.
do like martial arts films, and this had like a good look to it. And it's one of those things where I just really think that when it comes to PC culture, they claim like all ethnicities, but you kind of see they only fight for certain ones until somebody makes an uproar, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we have crazy rich Asians. Asians are represented."
Well, even aside from all that, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm poking fun at the fact that the PC culture is not out, claiming again. I ultimately think, like you were saying, Jacob, about the diehard fans of Mulan. I'm like, I like Mulan. It's not a bad movie. I'm not a diehard fan, but I even just the diehard fans that I'm thinking of who love Mulan, I just do not see them paying $30 in home entertainment to see this film. I just see it as I also think with Disney and as loaded as they are, and as everybody is hurting right now, I just feel like it's also kind of loaded that they would put such a price tag when they've seen other competitors.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying, "Oh, we're Disney. It's Mulan.
People
Yeah,
pay
we
for it."
can."
But-
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so pompous.
Well, they're
And
that
I'm
way
just-
with
it pisses
everything.
me off.
We're members of the Disney Movie Club, and when we receive like the offers to get the movies in the mail, when they come out, it's like I tell my wife, I'm like, no, reject that one because I can get that one for $10 cheaper on
Yes.
Amazon.
Yeah.
They want $37 for a Blu-ray
For a
disc. when
4K
you can get it
Blu-ray,
for
yeah.
$24 on Amazon.
Which, to be
So
fair,
it's just like they price gouge on
the
all that
retail
stuff.
price of a 4K Blu-ray is about $37, but nobody charges that. Like if you go to Walmart, they're always $20.
It's always cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can get it on Amazon for like $15. So the fact that Disney like charges like the full out, like this is what the technical retail price of a 4K Blu-ray is like, yeah, but nobody else charges that or pays that. So
I am very surprised at this news. I really thought that let me put it this way. I thought it would come down to them putting something like Mulan into, households or, with the deal that's been struck recently, doing a double release.
Yeah.
However, I'm just a little bit surprised because I really thought they would make it much more approachable, and I thought Disney would do right by the customer and say, "Hey, we know you're stuck at home. We know your kids, and you may want to see this movie.
And you're already
We're
paying
excited
for the streaming service.
You're paying for the service. We're
Yeah.
excited that you want to see this movie. We want you to see it too. And so here we are. We're going to offer this at I mean, even if it was like, hey, if you're already a subscriber, $5.
Yeah.
yeah,
If you're not, well, then-
something $30.
Yes.
is excessive.
I
mean,
just
if
thought
any,
that's
that would be a
ridiculous.
way to rope people into joining the subscription service.
Yes.
It's just like if you don't have the subscription, it's going to be $30 on our app. But if you do have it, you're getting it for $5. That's a great. I mean, that's a way to do it. What I'm wondering is, are they going to have it for $30 while the film is in theaters? And then once that window that we've been talking about is passed, then it's free on the streaming service.
I mean,
included.
I would hope so. Like if it's permanently $30 forever, that's ignorant.
Well, not forever.
Yeah,
I just mean like while the movie is in theaters, it's $30. But as soon as it's out of theaters,
I don't think
AKA
it'll be as
in
soon
a couple
as,
of weeks, then
Well,
it'll
that's-
be
yeah,
included.
that
But you
is-
can see it on release day
Yeah.
for $30.
I don't think it'll be a few weeks. Like I think they'll do like the theatrical window $30, and then they'll either take it away or leave it $30 until whenever like the Blu-ray release is, and then it'll be like now it's on
Now it's
Disney Plus
included.
free. Yeah.
No, I agree with that because I think that's kind of what happened with the it wasn't really a debacle, but it was kind of the confusion with Star Wars when Episode 9 came out, and then all of a sudden it was like Disney Plus had just launched, Episode 9 ends its run, and then it's like, well, we can't put it on there just yet.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna just kind of release.
They
them
waited
and
until the
checkerboard
Blu-ray
them.
release, then put it on Disney.
Right,
Plus.
and
Yeah.
so I think it's gonna be the same. I agree. I think it'll be the same way, but I also think that's just their hands are somewhat tied because of restrictions with theaters themselves and the theatrical release. But I think it's still kind of like
what I'm most curious to see.
I mean, that's gonna piss me off even more if I just pay $30 and
then
then
you
in
get
like
it
a
for
month
free.
it's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
That's BS.
Well, that's why I'm not
Well, that's
paying
with
$30.
everything, though.
I'll wait till it's
Oh,
free.
true.
What I'm most curious about is because obviously you can tell they're fighting to keep certain movies specifically for theatrical releases. Mulan was one of them up until a certain point. Then they're like, okay, we'll give them that one. And now they're still trying to hold on to Black Widow. But the longer this goes on and the longer theaters don't reopen, it does make me curious. Like, if this does well, if people do pay the $30 for it, and here we are, half a year down the road or early 2021, and theaters still aren't open, are they going to be like, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and do Black Widow 2. We'll charge $30 for that.
Right.
Yep.
Or if it's so successful and Black Widow's supposed to be an even bigger film, are they going to try to charge even more than 30? Because I think 30 is about the max you can push. Anything more than that,
That's
it's
crazy.
I mean, I don't even pay,
Yeah.
like you said, I don't even pay $30 to own a physical Blu-ray.
I don't
Yeah.
see how you can justify it.
Yep.
Even with the whole family watching, I'm just like,
Yep.
but I'm not going in my car to a place where I'm paying. I mean, the whole reason people feel like they're even paying such a high premium on ticket prices is because of the theater experience.
Experience, yeah.
And it's like, and they're already getting away with a crap ton of money then. But it's like, I mean, even if you can just hit play in the comfort of your own home and you got a 4-member family sitting there enjoying it, I'm just like, that's ridiculous.
Well, it's no
That's
different than buying a
absolutely
Blu-ray
ridiculous.
for $20 because I mean they are. You buy a Blu-ray for $20 and you can fit 10
Okay,
people in your
well,
house and watch the Blu-ray.
And
You
let
don't
me
charge.
ask you all this because this is really kind of the question that hasn't been brought up at all, and that is like, what if this doesn't work out? Nobody. What if this absolutely flops by doing?
Then
it
they
this
won't
way?
try again, or they'll wait several months and try again with a different movie at a lower price tag.
Yeah, I
You think so? Okay.
I think it'll work. Because I think Disney's smart enough to do the research.
Before,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, can't remember the last time.
I
there
don't
was
really
a
want it to
Disney
work, but I do
flop,
think it's
per
going
se.
to. Yeah.
But my question was going to be I'm not going to be part of making it work because I'm not paying $30.
Yeah.
Because I always griped when we'd go to midnight premieres and I had to pay $20. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
I could be asleep right now for some of these movies, but I digress.
But see, that $20 price tag is what kept you awake during the movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I was like, sorry,
I'm not wasting my money with 1 minute of sleep.
so, and that nudge Keith, he's snoring over there.
Yeah.
So, but my question to you all is: this just an effect of the Trolls World Tour or whatever it was, where they
Partially. I mean,
because they're banking on Disney Mulan, possible
I
kids
think
movie.
I think it's a couple different factors. I think it's the Trolls World Tour success, but it's also I think since the pandemic hit, and even before the pandemic hit, this has been something that studios have been pressing for a while, is to close that gap between the theatrical release and the video on demand release.
Sure.
And I think this has helped close that gap. But I also think because of the pandemic and it increasingly becoming more and more unlikely that theaters are going to open this year at all, it is becoming a dire circumstance for both not only theaters but studios as well. And they're trying. It's not that they want theaters to go away, because now they're in the position where they understand where theaters were at 3 months ago, freaking out like, no, like, you can't have this deal that you're looking for because screw you all, we need our money, and you all are going to be screwed by the time blockbuster seasons come around. And I think studios were a little bit more pompous and like, theaters will be open this summer.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's only a couple movies here and there, like Trolls, like Scoob. And then all of a sudden, here it is, we're through the summer, blockbuster season's come and gone, and it's like, oh crap, we need the theaters. We got to compromise.
No.
And I think as it becomes like they're both treading water, trying to figure out how long is this going to last, and when it does let up, what is the relationship going to be that helps out both of us? And obviously they're both thinking of themselves.
you know who truly gets the last laugh in all of this?
I don't know.
All the old video rental stores like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video that were ran out of business by streaming. Now they're like, now you all know how it feels.
No, streaming's like, we ran you all out of business and we're still getting it.
The
That's what
streaming
they're thinking.
services are like, we're gonna run everybody out of business.
Yeah.
We're king.
But yeah, no, I do. I think it's just one of those circumstances where the theaters now, or not theaters, the studios, they're still pushing, obviously. I mean, both parties are acting for themselves, but I think the studios now, especially after blockbuster season's come and gone, they're like, oh crap, we need to make
They're
money.
not making any money.
They're
this
not making
year.
any money either, and they got to figure out a way to have this balance of, if the theaters aren't open, we got to make up this money for $100-200 million films, and if we got to charge $30 a head at home even. We're going to try that, and if it doesn't work, well, then we're going to be out a lot of money, and that means blockbusters go by the wayside.
Because I just can't see, okay, obviously if you go to the theater, it's a one-time experience at $20 or whatever you pay.
Right. If you only see the movie once.
Yeah, and usually I go and see it once, and if I truly, truly like it, I may buy it when it comes out, to purchase. But I understand, like, Trolls was, what, a 48-hour video rental or whatever for $20.
I mean,
$10
well, I mean, I had a
whatever it
screener,
was.
so
Okay. Okay.
Which
Well,
also,
screener.
Neil says they'll probably be cutting down on those screeners.
Yeah.
when this
they've
releases,
tried,
you
but
know,
I
now.
mean, they've not been successful so far.
because I still can't,
screeners can be found.
yeah.
because I just still can't justify it in my head and with my wallet, even if I got it for a week at $30.
Yeah.
The odds of me watching it
More,
twice
yeah.
Yeah.
The same week.
in a week or 2 day period just to feel like I got my money's worth.
Right.
It has to be a 4 out of 4 movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how many times does your daughter watch a movie over and over again?
She doesn't. She usually watches Netflix or Disney Plus shows.
Okay.
So, we watch Liv and Maddie on repeat or something. But
Which, and here's the thing too. I mean, I'm assuming Marley. We've talked about. We've shouted her out on happy birthday, Marley.
Yeah.
Even though that was a while back.
in July,
But did we shout it out this year?
I think y'all did.
Did we?
I don't think
it
we
was
did.
last year.
I think it was
That was last year.
Happy belated birthday, Marley! If you're watching,
She's in Florida right now. She don't care about
She don't
us.
care. She's on the Corona Beach. How could you do it, Jacob? How could you send her? No. Anyways, my question is a question about would she like Mulan? Do you think she would be interested in seeing that?
I don't think she's seen the original or the Disney original. I doubt she would watch the People version.
Okay.
Or the
Live
live
action.
action or whatever.
Okay.
She'd probably watch the animated 90s version, I would think, because I think the live action Jungle Book's probably a little rough, Lion King, whatever, for her taste.
Now, if she saw the trailer, was super interested, and you saw that for $30, you not only got to rent it, but you just got to own the film, would you?
I would just buy
Bite
the
the bullet?
Blu-ray.
You just wait. You
I
would
buy-
wait.
Yeah, I would wait.
Okay.
Unless chaos rains down at the house and we're like having Mulan fits every day. But I don't see
then
that
you
happening.
cave?
And, yeah.
I would say,
See,
I
okay.
wouldn't buy it to own for 30 either because I've never really bought anything like any movie to own
Yeah,
for
that's
$30. That's
kinda
not-
ridiculous.
Like the only movie I would have done something like that for is if like they had told me, oh, you could buy Endgame on like its launch like theatrical
Yes.
release
Yeah,
day
no, that would
for
be
$30. I was like, yeah, I might do that.
Yeah.
Like if it was like I went to the midnight premiere, saw that movie, and then I could own it that same night for $30. I'm such a huge fan. I might have done something like that.
But see,
But-
well, and now, Sean, let me ask
Return
you,
of the King.
because I know for a fact that you did get Trolls specifically so that your kids, I mean, they watch it on repeat all the time.
I didn't buy it.
And
Screeners.
Yeah, actually.
Well,
watched it
let
on
me-
what
repeat.
part of this do you
let me-
not get?
That's true, but I
me
didn't
put
pay for it.
Let me put it this way. If
Just being honest here.
if you were a law-abiding citizen and you
Yeah.
bought this film, the fact is that your kids no doubt wore out that movie. But
It's a kids' movie.
right,
Like
and
if
that's the
it was
difference.
if it was Frozen 3 coming out, I would beg to differ. I think
Yeah,
Marley and
we would
and,
probably
a
rent
million, tens of millions of other little girls
Yes.
would watch it on repeat, and they would be begging their daddies to please buy the movie so we can watch it.
yeah.
That's being said, though, this is a live action Mulan that doesn't look like it's catering to young kids.
Agreed.
So I just don't see the at home value for little kids
Yeah.
that aren't going to understand the movie or be able to sit still through the movie. There's no songs for them to sing with the movie.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about Frozen is all the little kids sing all the songs. Trolls World Tour, all the kids sing this. I have to listen to the damn soundtrack every time we get in the car. So kids want to be able to sing along. With this movie not having that, I don't I don't see the value for kids, and I don't see the value for parents to purchase it for kids.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to do as good at home as they're
And I think
banking on.
that's the big failure.
But
here on Disney's
I
part.
think it's mainly because they want to have the theater money, and they know that it's going to be cut by 50% because of when theaters do open, they're going to be at half capacity or even less.
because most people won't
Right.
go.
So they're trying to make up that difference with VOD.
And they're hoping that enough
Yes.
people will pay that.
I don't think
$30
they're
price
looking to
tag.
make Trolls money off of this. I think they're looking to just make up the
Break
difference
even?
of theaters.
I
yeah.
think Disney's really just trying to test the waters to see how much people will pay.
But
They're
but that'll be the most
that may be true,
unfortunate
too.
thing.
Yeah.
The most unfortunate thing will be as if Mulan, which we are all expecting is going to be a good movie, that it's going to fail because of maybe this practice.
well,
that
then
it's
you're
really
gonna have
just
a
a
Solo
trial.
effect where everybody's like, "Well, Solo was terrible." It's like, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't,
It
but
was
it just
marketed
sucked
poorly.
because
Yeah.
no, and it was not only marketed poorly. It had rough patches with production,
Yep.
but it was also because you had Episode 8.
Well, that's
that had
partly
come
what I
out
mean
in
by
December.
marketed poorly. They released it like 5 months after that. And
After
it was
a bad
like, that
movie?
was- yeah.
After a terrible
Yeah.
movie that fans
But, like,
loathed.
people were already
Yeah.
pissed off about Star Wars.
They
They
had a
didn't
bad
want to go.
taste in
Yeah,
their
they
mouth.
didn't want to go see another one 5 months later, thinking, "Well, this is just going to
Yep.
be more of the same crap
Yeah.
Disney keeps making."
All right, guys, we got to move on because we beat
Yeah.
that dead horse. But I think kind of what we're talking about with Disney Plus and some other things, I think will relate into our multimedia segment. So let's roll it.
Multimedia.
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 You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That is not the right one. You can't overuse it. You can only overuse it when there's breaking news.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I think it's more like you're going to need a longer show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's almost 10
Well,
o'clock.
I mean, I feel like this section, like,
Well, now
we've
we-
already kind of like gone over some of
We
it.
have, but also, and this is a good thing. When we have a guest on,
We always go
go
longer.
long,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing.
We didn't with Nathan.
I
that
like-
one week. We were short that week.
Well,
So
that's because
odd.
Nathan didn't have much to add. Jacob does.
Jacob brought a notebook. Sorry, stuff to add.
I'm knocking you, Nathan. I love you, buddy.
I don't
No.
think he's watching right now. So
Well, screw him. Then I'm gonna knock them all at one. All right, no, our kind of talking about Disney Plus, and I just want to bring this up because when Keith came over to record, I was in the midst of trying to watch Mrs. Miniver
on Plex.
on Plex, and granted, I know Plex is just it's kind of like a user interface for your own media library,
Yeah.
and it's not a
but
official
it's
streaming
not well
service.
designed. I'll give you that.
But that's what brought up the thought of streaming annoyances.
Oh.
So with all the streaming platforms that are out there,
he couldn't get Plex to work, and I can attest it wasn't his fault. Plex was just being retarded.
and there was like on 3 different Plex apps. That was on the phone. That was on the
I don't
freaking
ever have a
TV.
problem.
Well, but here's the thing. I think a lot of it had to do with the PlayStation 4 version, and maybe because I'm just using like the old original PS4, not the PS4 Pro. But I constantly have freezing errors. This time it happened to be the audio would play, but the picture wouldn't.
yeah, last time he got a
And-
picture and no audio. This time he
Yes.
had audio and no picture.
I
You
mean,
need to
it's
get a,
just
you just
so.
need to get a Roku, man.
I know.
I
I
don't
know.
ever have a single problem.
I say
with my
I watch
Roku.
it on my Xbox One, and I never have a problem.
I used Keith's Plex and watched it on
the PlayStation 3.
Fire Stick.
Oh, you did the Fire Stick.
Okay.
Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It did
okay,
fine.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not the streaming applications. Maybe it's the device.
Maybe.
Possible.
So
Yeah.
maybe an actual
Maybe your
streaming
Samsung
device.
and your Sony PlayStation just they couldn't.
They don't jive.
Yeah.
They don't jive.
I will say one thing, because I have a lot of those devices. Like we have Roku's in every room, but I have the PS4 Pro. My television is a Vizio. It has all of those apps built
Yeah.
in it, like Neil's does. It's like it has
Smart
dedicated
TV,
apps.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
But
extremely.
the thing is like the apps themselves, the streaming services build the apps differently for each device.
yes, they do.
So it's the way Plex works. Like for instance, on a Fire Stick, one of the reasons I don't have an Amazon Cube, which is I really want one, but I won't get it because Plex does not stream. It doesn't stream HD audio. It can't do Dolby Atmos.
Right.
And it transcodes every video. It cannot do direct play. It can do it
That
on
didn't
an
matter
Apple
for this
TV.
movie, Jacob.
It can do it on a Roku. It can do it on my built-in Vizio app, but it won't do it on a Fire Stick. So even the writers of Plex have written their app different on every device.
Right.
That's a major annoyance for me.
Yeah.
Because when you get on Disney Plus on the Roku, it looks different than Disney Plus on the PlayStation.
I hate that.
And it's like, where's the stuff? Where's the menu? How do I go to my account? It's always different.
That's all of them. Netflix
Yeah.
and Hulu are the same way.
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say Netflix is definitely the same way, and never mind them. And I understand there's legacy platforms. I get it.
But why can't you make it look the same on every platform?
And there's ways to get rid of like certain graphical. You can do a graphical overhaul and make it as plain Jane to work on older devices. But I agree, the user interface should be across the
Universal,
board, similar across the board.
Like if I
completely.
get on Hulu on my Xbox, which is what I stream everything on, and like it says like recently watched, but it's like if I've fallen asleep or something, so it's a couple episodes past, you can hit like the info and go to the actual series page and pick your episode. On my TV in my bedroom, if I try to watch Hulu, I have to search for the show. Like there is no like if I click on it, it immediately starts playing like the last played. It doesn't take me to a series page like Xbox does, and it pisses me off. It's like, why would you make that so different on two different platforms?
And that's the thing. Like I understand you have to make the. I mean, obviously different platforms have different code bases.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But why are you not designing the apps to look and feel the same on every platform?
Yeah, they may not
Regardless.
perform the same.
Right.
Like there may be, like I said, the Fire Stick doesn't have the capabilities that the Roku or that even some of the built-in apps on the TV do. But why can't you at least make it look the same so that it's familiar
just because
to me?
I may not have an animation from one thing to the next.
Right.
Fine. If the processor is not strong enough in that device to do it,
make navigating the user interface the same.
The exact same.
Yeah.
And that's the other problem, the layout. Just make the layouts the exact same on every device so that I don't have to know how to use Netflix 5 different ways.
Yeah.
That's annoying as hell. And my other thing, real quick, I know we're long in the tooth. And Jacob, if you have any streaming annoyances...
We're not doing too bad yet. It depends on
let's
how
go.
much longer we go.
Yeah.
Because we just have the Fire Stick with Disney Plus, Netflix, and now Plex.
Yeah.
Plus,
Amazon, you got Prime.
yeah, we have Prime. So, but I mean, so what I get frustrated with is if I'm watching The Office on Netflix.
Yep.
And it comes up with this error like cannot be played. So I back out, back in, and then it won't play, but I can watch another movie or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's, I assume, dare I say, Office specific, or
Just in that moment.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. But I guess an hour later you can do it.
It does it
Work
on
fine.
lots of stuff for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had that same
that
issue.
weird little, I don't know, the glitches or
Yeah.
the programming error, but it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it does.
Their servers go brain dead for a minute. And they
Yeah.
can't figure
Yeah,
out
sure.
like we
So-
can't find the show.
Well, it does the
Yeah.
exact opposite of what it's supposed to do, which is be a convenient way of making you feel at ease and entertained. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't feel that way. I feel aggravated and really pissed off right now, and I just want to wring
Yeah.
your neck.
Hulk smash.
But that's the thing. Like streaming is supposed to be fast, easy. I mean, everything you want in one option. But anymore, like they have. Which I mean, anything's going to have hiccups. But I mean, there's certain times when it gets on my nerves. And then when they do things like we've discussed this in the past, when they pull things for censorship reasons, it's like now I'm glad I own my Scrubs. Like I own all of Scrubs on DVD because I can't watch it all on Hulu because they pulled episodes for being offensive, which is stupid.
Yeah.
So
or
it's
for
like
the music copyright.
or for the music
Oh,
copyright.
that's even
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
annoying too when you change and edit
Yeah.
the copyright.
Yeah.
Because of the
because
the
you
material
don't want to buy
own
the streaming
rights.
rights to the music,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a show that like pulls in tons of viewers, so you're going to make your money back.
Well, I'll tell you an annoyance that's really pissing me off right now. Number one, because like I said before, I have a Roku. I have a Roku in every room of the house. Every TV has a Roku on it. We love it. We've had them for years. I would never buy another device as long as they keep making them the way they make them. HBO Max, not on Roku, not on Fire Stick. It's only on Apple TV, and I think you can get it on
Xbox and
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where is it for Fire Stick or for Amazon devices and Roku?
Two
And
huge
it's
user
stupid.
bases.
Peacock's
Stupid.
not on Roku or Amazon
Peacock
either.
is the other one.
And
I just
I'm like,
signed up
why?
for it the other day for the free version, and guess what? I can't flip and watch it.
Because you don't
There
have
is
the right device.
Vizio has a goddamn app for it on their crappy, archaic
Yeah, and that's it. Yes.
app system in the smart TV.
And it's like you're
but I
telling me
can't
you
get
can
it on
make it for
Roku.
that, but you can't
Right.
make it for a
Well,
freaking.
they can make it for Roku or Amazon, but apparently they said
No,
they
there's-
can't come to
there-
a deal with it.
yeah,
So it's
there's-
like
I'm
What
just like,
kind of deal?
Yes, exactly.
What
Apparently
deal are
the-
you keeping your viewers from wanting to
apparently
watch?
Well, I'm sure if Vizio doesn't ask for as large a cut because they're Vizio, like they don't have no
Yeah.
power that way. And I guess Microsoft and Sony don't either with their devices, but apparently Roku and Amazon
See, that's
require a bigger percentage
Yeah.
to be on their platform. And I guess right
Roku
now
is known as the most third-party
That's what
device.
I'm saying.
It's the most
It is the
widely
most
used
open
streaming
device,
service.
yeah.
Open source, yeah.
Yes.
So for more people to join in.
So I don't understand
Yeah.
what the deal is that they can't make to
They
get
don't
that
want
app
to pay.
on there.
They don't want to pay Roku.
And the
what
other
they're
thing
worth.
is HBO decided recently, hey, if Roku's not going to come to an agreement, and if Fire Stick's not going to come to or Amazon's not going to come to an agreement, then we're going to take the HBO Go app that has been working and has been allowing
put
you
that on the device?
No, we're
No,
going
they're
to take
gonna
it
take it
off.
away.
What?
They removed
Oh,
it.
that's right. Because
Yeah.
everything is now supposed to be Max. Go's
Right.
gone
but
away.
because Max couldn't come to an agreement with their app on Roku, they said, well,
We're gonna pack up
you're
our stuff and go
paying
home.
for
Yeah.
the server. You're paying for HBO, so we'll leave HBO Go on there, and you can still watch at least the HBO content.
Wow.
Now they're taking that away from us, so we don't have any HBO, even if we're paying for
They're
this
trying to
channel.
punish. They're trying to
I
punish
see this-
Amazon
Yeah.
and Roku.
I see this
Yeah.
all the time, and I'm telling you right now, the studios lose.
Oh yeah.
I see it
Warner
all the
Brothers will
time
end
in
up
freaking
caving.
TV, and they have these standoffs with the networks, and you also have the standoffs with the cable companies.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is the cable companies don't want to pay the price that they have to carry the channel, and eventually they come to a degree where it's like they cut the channel, and then they get calls in like, "Hey, why can't I access this?"
Yep.
And it's
I
like,
know, that
"Oh,
just
you
happened.
can."
Dish just lost
Yep.
the Oprah channel. My mom was telling me. About. I
Yep.
didn't even know
Yeah.
she. I didn't even know she watched. Apparently, she watches Greenleaf, which really surprised. Yeah, that really surprises
I thought
me.
you were joking.
No,
I
no.
was going to tell a joke.
I was really surprised.
Oprah channel.
She was like, I really like
Oh,
that
no.
show Greenleaf,
I was waiting
and now
for
I
it.
have to get screeners of Greenleaf for her because she can't watch it anymore
Oh
because
my
they
gosh.
pulled it off of Dish. And I'm like, okay,
There is one other thing that I cannot stand, and maybe this is not streaming
yeah.
specific. It is a device issue, and maybe, I don't know, it could be a software problem or hardware. But the fact of the matter is this was the issue I had with Plex. On those 3 different times I was trying to use it. My TV app and the PlayStation app and through my phone. 2 of them, the TV app and the phone, the audio was so incredibly low that I would have to physically get up to turn, because right now my remote doesn't work for my sound system. So I have to physically turn the knob to actually turn up the audio. And that's the other thing, to a deafening degree, because and then that ends up
You
being
have
the
everything
problem.
to a deafening degree.
And that's the thing, I'm already hard of hearing.
Well, that's the problem, is because he usually has it up so loud, but because it was playing so low, he had to turn up louder. So then if he goes back to something else,
Exactly.
It's like
like
blowing
busting
your
his-
speaker.
Yeah.
It'll bust
Yeah.
your speaker. And then that was the other thing, is the PlayStation one actually plays it louder than the other 2.
Yeah.
But usually my PlayStation, and this used to not be a problem on the PS3, because they actually had a menu option where you could increase the volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they don't have that option available. You increase it to the max, it still sounds really low. But like my Netflix app, super, super low on the PS4. And then if I get out of that and I just go to like a normal game or even watch a movie on like Vudu, it's super freaking loud because I've cranked it up for Netflix. And I'm just like, can we not get some kind of, I mean, I know there's a standardization in broadcasting,
Yeah.
because you're not allowed to, like, it used to be an issue where
Yeah.
commercials would come on and
Be
they
louder,
would
yeah.
intentionally be louder to get your attention, so you'd pay attention to it. And there was an FCC ruling that said you can't do
Right.
that. So now there's like a standardization in all broadcasting that it has to be at a certain level, or otherwise you'll get fined. And I'm like, can we not do the same
Yeah.
thing?
One of the reasons is that you might be having that is kind of a technical issue, because Netflix streams all of their audio in Dolby Digital Plus, and the PlayStation doesn't have a way to decode Dolby Digital Plus. It relies on your box to do that. So what it does is the PlayStation converts it to LPCM, which is usually a lower volume. It's higher quality, but it's lower volume.
Yeah.
And because you'll notice, like, Bitstream and PCM is lower, but it sounds better.
So it's almost like it's wanting me to turn it up to like zero.
It's probably
zero
converting
level.
it into something that the PlayStation can then send to your
And
surround sound
decode.
box and decode. But when it's coming out the other end, the volume's probably
I
not
always
mixed
have-
right.
yeah.
I say I always have my
Yeah.
receiver set to direct to play the direct sound, but I always watch everything
Yeah.
from the Xbox
I mean,
One,
I
and it has no problem
partly-
decoding anything.
I'll be
so.
honest with you. I partly
Yeah.
went on that rant to ridicule Sony and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because PS3 had all the media
Yeah.
controls.
PS3 actually decoded Dolby Digital
Yes.
Plus.
and they
PS3 was
took-
a perfect
PS4
media
won't.
device. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was like they took a step back when they went to the PS4 and were
Yeah.
like, well, we're going to omit some of this because we're gamer centric.
In fact,
you can include that shit
That's
too.
the only.
Yeah,
Just saying.
That's the
It's
only
so
good
annoying.
thing about the Xbox One. Really, is like the only thing I use it for is a media device because it runs everything. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing it can't decode.
Yeah.
It has no games to
And
play
that
on
used
it,
to
but
be-
it can play every. It can play every movie you want to
Yeah.
watch.
And it was the exact opposite the last console generation. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
The exact
Yeah.
opposite.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I think that is going to wrap it up for this show. But my goodness, we had a hugely packed show.
You know, we
there.
didn't run
Yeah,
that far over.
that was good.
Not too bad.
It was a
We're
good
usually
segment.
That
about
was good.
5 after 10, and now we're 10 after 10. Not too bad.
Well, it's been a while since we've had one of these shows. Still, Jacob, we
It was
want to
great
thank
to
you
see Jacob.
for coming on here and being with us this evening.
It's always
Right.
a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, and we're always glad that you're listening.
Not only that, but we're going to get to see Jacob in grave detail next week.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we
Well, I'm
are.
going to see him in grave detail for quite a while.
maybe.
Whoa!
Yeah, we'll explain that later.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's something else going on, Jacob, that
There's
we
a
don't
secret
know.
movie being made.
Not by Red Moon. Now I'm pissed.
Oh, sorry.
All right, guys, I think that is going to do it this time for us here on the Red Moon Podcast. As always, you can check out our website at redmoonproductions.com, or you can email us at rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
our special guest.
Jacob Burris, and I'm listening.
We'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.